como tú lo meneas. Muévete ese bam bam y grita. Bienvenidos a la cripta.
This video is so much more important than you think, and people are losing teeth over it. Let's get into it. If you didn't know, there is still a pandemic across the United States of people getting 4 teeth taken out to get their braces done. And I think this video visually illustrates why that's just not quite as needed anymore. You see, back in the day, we used to think of any crowding at all that we had, well, we had to take teeth out to cause that uncrowding to get rid of it. But as you can see in that video, with newer technology and things like open coil springs, they created the space and brought that tooth in without having to pull any teeth. And unfortunately, we do have an issue where maybe some older trained dentists in their 70s or 80s are still out there performing orthodontists from what they learned in college, which is pull teeth on everybody. To give you a good sense of why we don't really do this much anymore, I think it's good to talk to you about the history. Because originally in the first braces, we had to hand bend all these wires, we had to steel tie them down, we had to do all this crazy, we had to band all these teeth, and because of that, it caused a lot of friction and forces on those teeth. And so if you had a lot of crowding, it would cause them all to fly out like this. Also, another thing is if you had a lot of crowding, you had to hand bend all these wires to match all this crazy crowding, and it would just be a mess. And so we took 4 teeth out on almost everybody. But dentists started to notice that we only used about 10-20% of that space, and then the last 80% was used to pull these teeth back, causing all these young girls and kids to have these lips pulled back, and then all of a sudden they look like they're very old at 16 years old. Well, dentists started to notice this, and they said, hey, you need to stop taking teeth out on everybody. Now by then we have what's called twin brackets, which are the OG braces that you guys all know and love, with the little circle O ties on there. Now those still cause friction on the wire, and so dentists were saying, orthos, you need to stop taking teeth out, don't do it anymore. And so we were like, I mean, it's gonna flare way out and look crazy, but I mean, if this is what you want, we'll do it for you. So then people started to stop taking teeth out, and so we started getting major flaring happening. And so instead of their teeth being way back and looking old, it was actually flared out. And then they had these teeth that did this, and then on top of that, because they were flaring outside the bone, we had all these major gum problems where people were having gum graft issues. And so then we were in a bit of a pickle there until somebody came up with the passive self-ligating bracket. Now what this did is allowed every bracket to act like a tube that was completely passive. And so now instead of having crazy flying out like this, we could actually do about half the way. And then with the invention of IPR, interproximal reduction, we could now polish between the teeth, create these tiny little gaps, and then upright that last little bit, getting rid of the need to have to remove teeth on 90+% of patients. Now, if you have so much crowding like crazy that if I remove 4 teeth, everything fits perfectly, that's still probably a better option than flaring everything way out and then polishing everything 1,000 times. But most people that used to have to get 4 teeth out absolutely do not have to get teeth out now. We have open coil springs, we have good rubber bands, we have passive self-ligating brackets, we have the IPR, which is very light and easy on the teeth as well. And so now I feel like people need to know this, because in my office at Windcrest Orthodontics here in Plano, Texas, we see referrals coming in all day long of people that need 4 teeth out and 4 teeth out and 4 teeth out, because these older orthodontists are still practicing, and we have to let them know that no, you absolutely do not have to have 4 teeth taken out, unless, like I said, it's a very, very crazy crowding. So if you see yourself with just a little bit of crowding and nothing too insanely crazy, then maybe get a second opinion if your orthodontist tells you you need 4 teeth out.